Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Shields, and today we are going to react to Jay Foreman's Tower Bridge Could Have Looked Very Different. I believe that might be London Bridge, actually, right behind him in this beginning. We did a video on London Bridge already. Now, I went to Tower Bridge a few months ago, or a couple months ago now, and I learned a little bit about the history of Tower Bridge, the construction of it, it's such a beautiful design, too. You know, it was a drawbridge in its early days. It was operated by steam power, and now, of course, we have electricity. But it's a very interesting bridge just because of the construction of it. The pictures of when it was first opened. It's just interesting. It's an interesting time in history, in the late 19th century. I believe that's when it opened. The late 19th century. I might be wrong, but if my memory serves me well, the late 1800s. So let's sit back, relax, and listen to Jay tell us about a bridge.
Last time we talked about London Bridge, but this time let's talk about Tower Bridge.
So beautiful.
In the 19th century, London became the biggest city on the planet. Its population skyrocketed from 1 million in 1800 to 5 million in 1890.
That's the same size as Singapore today.
To accommodate the growth on both sides of the River Thames, the number of bridges shot up too, from 3 to 14.
So far, all of these bridges were appearing to the west of London Bridge. Crossings were badly needed to the east as well, but none had been built. Why was this?
Yeah, why?
Victorian London was the biggest and most important shipping port in the world. This part of the Thames was known as the Pool of London, packed with docks and warehouses, welcoming boats of all different shapes and sizes from all over the empire to supply Britain with quite literally everything.
That looks like a mess right there. Like, my God. It must be early hours picture. Like, that looks like a mess. All the different barges right there.
Everything from coal to sugar to dog kennels to mattress protectors to fortune cookies.
Any bridge built east of London Bridge would have to somehow keep access open to the Pool of London for the thousands of very, very tall ships. As the famous saying goes, when you can't build a bridge, build a tunnel, stupid. But in the 19th century, this wasn't so easy.
No one had ever managed to dig a tunnel under a river anywhere in the world before. But if anyone was up to the job, it was the terrific Richard Trevithick, mining expert, inventor of the steam train, and a tunnelling superstar in his native Cornwall. In 1807, Trevithick made a good start on a test tunnel in Rotherhithe. But he learnt the hard way that London wasn't Cornwall.
London sits on top of a layer of soft, squishy clay that gets extremely sloppy when wet. Under the river, the clay gets extremely sloppy and extremely squishy indeed.
Trevithick had only got halfway across the river when the whole thing flooded and collapsed, and the project had to be abandoned. Experts all agreed that digging a tunnel under the Thames was impracticable.
But the problem would eventually be solved.
I wonder if they could do that today, though, with the technology and how they can bore tunnels. I wonder if they could do that today under some sort of different maintenance.
By a half-English, half-French inventor called Marc Isambard Brunel. Not Isambard Kingdom Brunel, his father. Marc Isambard Brunel didn't know the meaning of impracticable, and neither do I.
Brunel had just invented an invention called Brunel's tunnelling shield, a massive tunnel-sized frame that protected miners while they built brick walls around them. Perfect for solving London's sloppy problem.
Brunel's tunnelling shield made the job possible, but it didn't make it easy.
The project was beset with problems from day 1 to day 6,512, with constant delays, floods and dead miners, very nearly including his son, Isambard.
In 1843, Brunel's Thames Tunnel was finally opened to the public. But it wasn't what Brunel or anyone had had in mind. It was decades late and decades over budget, and it wasn't even suitable to use.
With no money left for the massive ramps required for road access, they had to make do with spiral staircases at both ends. Its only possible use was as a very pedestrian tourist attraction, which tourists got very tired of very quickly. It became known in the newspapers as the Great Bore.
That's a pun, by the way.
Oh, I get it. Brunel's tunnel did eventually get turned into something useful. In 1865, the East London Railway bought it and started running their trains under it. You can still visit today on the underground section of the overground. So, with Brunel's tunnel full of trains, not traffic, it was time for Thames Tunnel, take 2. In 1869, the Tower Subway was built. And while this one was completed much faster, 14 weeks rather than 20 years, it too was a failure. This isn't it, by the way.
The nightmarishly claustrophobic Tower subway was open for just 28 years before closing to the public
No tall hats allowed. That's got to be an edit right there.
in 1898. It's still there today, but you're only allowed to use it if you're a utility pipe.
Tunnels, in a nutshell, were not up to the job, and neither were tunnels under the Thames. So just how could the city corporation solve the unsolvable problem of getting traffic across the Pool of London? Get the public to solve it.
The City Corporation's chief architect, Sir Horace Jones, was put in charge of setting up a competition, calling for ideas for a crossing that was open to both road and river traffic. More than 50 of Britain's best engineers submitted ideas, but Horace found something wrong with all of them.
I've designed a swing bridge with 2 rotating roadways, so at any time, either one of these 2 paths will be open, and road traffic literally never has to wait.
But every ship would literally always have to wait.
Well, road traffic's more important.
Not in the 19th century, it's not. Next!
My idea is basically the same, but the road slides out instead of spinning.
These are so interesting designs.
It's much more complicated and probably isn't going to work, sorry.
Good man.
My design is a transporter bridge lifting people and horses high up on dangly platforms.
Like the one in Middlesbrough.
Yeah? Oh.
My solution is we make the bridge very tall.
And how will vehicles get up there?
Massive spiral ramps like the ones you get in car parks.
That's hideous. You'll ruin the whole area.
Well, that's what I do. I totally ruined the embankment. So, start building on Monday, yes?
No.
All right, well, how about this one?
No.
All right, how about this one?
No.
You don't seem to understand. I am Sir Joseph Bazalgette.
But we're arch enemies.
I built the sewers.
I'm muting you.
You have no authority.
Gentlemen and gentlemen, thank you for your submissions. I have considered them all carefully.
Plus 56 more participants.
And decided that the winner is me. Hooray!
Horace Jones picked his own entry and then died.
That's insane, because that actually happened.
His design was a bascule bridge with flippy bits that raised up to allow ships to pass underneath.
A drawbridge.
It was a brilliantly simple and actually quite old-fashioned idea, but to build it on such a big scale would take some serious engineering expertise. So Jones's design was improved upon by a proper engineer, John Wolfe Barry,
who got rid of the arches and added 2 walkways up top so pedestrians could cross without waiting. Genius! Despite its ultra-modern engineering, the new bridge was designed to look 1,000 years older than it really was, so that it would forever fit in sensitively with the surrounding architecture, matching the Gothic style of its next-door neighbour, the Tower of London.
Yes, and it's such an insane scenic pass between the Tower of London and Tower Bridge.
Which is how the bridge got its name, Tower Bridge.
Tower Bridge opened in 1894 and the public fell in love with it immediately. And who can blame them? I mean, look at it!
The bridge became an icon of London and is today arguably the most...
I will say, I did purchase that book, The Tower Bridge Cat.
famous bridge in the world citation needed.
It's so iconic that lots of tourists, mostly Americans, mistakenly call it London Bridge.
I did not, though.
It's a compliment, really. It feels like it's been here forever, but it's actually so modern we have photos of its construction. It was built for cars. It's newer than the Brooklyn Bridge. Beautiful though it was, the bridge was by no means perfect.
The foot crossing up top was never very popular. With such a long journey up the stairs, it was usually quicker and always less faff just to wait for the bridge to come down. It also had a reputation for pickpockets and muggers, giving criminals a scenic backdrop for their seedy business. So the pedestrian walkways were closed in 1910 and stayed closed right up until 1982 when they became part of the Tower Bridge experience.
Wow.
With Tower Bridge being such a beloved icon, it's incredible to think that this nearly happened to it.
In 1943, famous painter W.F.C.
A hotel?
Holden put forward a proposal to encase Tower Bridge in an Art Deco frame of steel and glass. It would bring the structure up to date and protect it from German bombs.
I mean...
Cover it in glass to protect it from bombs? Thankfully, no one at the time thought this was a good idea.
And I think the Germans actually had a target on the Tower Bridge to not hit it. They did that for several different buildings.
And Tower Bridge has remained entirely unchanged. Almost.
In 1977, the exterior was painted in patriotic red, white and blue to celebrate the Queen's Silver Jubilee. It was meant to be a temporary job, but it actually looked kind of nice, so they kept it.
This means that Tower Bridge has the unique honour of being the only bridge in central London that's never been rebuilt.
Every other bridge has been replaced and modernised at some point in the last 200 years.
I'm sure it will be needed something.
As well as the structure being unchanged, remarkably, its status hasn't changed either.
Tower Bridge still opens to let big boats through around 800 times a year. but it's still one of the most important road links in London, partly because it forms part of the inner ring road around the congestion charge zone, and partly because more than 120 years after it was built, it remains to this day the only bridge in Greater London east of London Bridge.
Wait, that's weird, isn't it? It's the 2020s. Surely we've got better bridge building technology by now. Is there really no demand for any bridges in East London?
Is it really no bridge to the east of this bridge? This bridge?
And hasn't all the shipping gone away? In fact, why don't they just build loads of tunnels? Well, not that it's any of your business, but if you want to know the answer to these questions, tune in next time for another thrilling installment of Unfinished London.
Okay. That's a video we gotta watch. We gotta watch that video. I'm gonna back up for that beautiful view right there. Wow. There are no bridges east of this. It's just, it's still mind-boggling. And to think that there was like a 70-year period of time where that walkway was closed is also mind-boggling. Wow. What a video. What a video. I love Jay's videos. Go subscribe to Jay. He's got some amazing content. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this with me. And until next time, peace out. Bye-bye.